Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I rise today in support of bipartisan legislation that the House recently passed, H.R. 3700, the Housing Opportunity Through Modernization Act, and specifically Section 103 that addresses a disturbing trend in federally subsidized housing, taxpayer-subsidized housing. You see, last summer, HUD's Inspector General published an audit revealing that over 25,000 households, recipients of taxpayer-supported housing, actually exceeded the maximum allowable income to qualify for housing assistance. And importantly, nearly triple that number, roughly triple that number, is on a wait list for housing. And in fact, those on the wait list are economically qualified. Worse, to pay for these over-income tenants, American taxpayers, you and I, are on the hook for $104 million next year. While hundreds of thousands of desperate low-income American families legitimately in need of taxpayer-supported housing today sit on a list idly waiting for much-needed help, tens of thousands of over-income tenants sit in taxpayer-supported housing. In one instance, a New York family with an income of nearly $500,000 is receiving taxpayer-subsidized public housing. In Nebraska, an individual with double the income limit and $1.6 million in assets is living in taxpayer-supported housing, paying $300 a month. In my home state of Florida, we have many cases as well. It is very clear that eliminating this kind of waste, fraud, and abuse is the reason that we serve today. It is critical that we do so. A combination of inadequate congressional directives and indifferent federal bureaucracy has let down the American people, the people who trust Congress to responsibly and effectively allocate tax dollars. And it has also let down the low-income families on the wait list who are hoping for an opportunity to climb out of poverty. I am pleased that the House yesterday acted responsibly to pass legislation to stop this failed policy. Section 103 of the Housing Opportunity Through Modernization Act sets clear requirements for HUD and now for local housing authorities. Under this section, households currently in public housing whose income exceeds 120% of the median income level for 2 consecutive years will no longer be permitted to receive taxpayer assistance. Further, public housing authorities will be required to report annually to Congress and the American people on tenant incomes so that we might maintain proper oversight of this program. These are reasonable reforms that bring accountability to a federal program that desperately needs it. It ensures a pathway, a smooth pathway for over-income households for a reasonable transition off of taxpayer assistance, and it should create new opportunities for those on the wait list. I'm also pleased to see that HUD is finally taking steps to address this matter. Far too late, but at least they are. Just yesterday, the agency announced that it will consider much needed a new rule to strengthen oversight of over-income tenancy in public housing. Mr. Speaker, we should not rest until we can be sure that taxpayer dollars, those of the men and women who entrust us to represent them, are going to support only those American families most in need of assistance. We still have much work remaining, but with passage of the Housing Opportunity Through Modernization Act, we have made a very important first step. Let us together hope that the Senate and the President will join with us in this important work on behalf of the American taxpayers that we represent. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I yield back.
Gentleman yield.